Hi there, my name is Stranj, and this is Samurai, and Substance Painter enthusiast will be familiar with him as the demo dude from Substance Painter, and I've become quite fond of him over the last few months. And I'm going to use him to show you the AFF subfx layer effects that I've been building very simply out of existing algorithmic stock nodes in Designer, and bringing that basic functionality over to Painter. So, this is Samurai's curvature map, and things like this, whether baked or derived from a normal map, are very useful for adding to a diff to make things pop along edges and in crevices, and you can low pass filter it and use it as an AO map, or you can high pass filter it and use it as an edge map. Very useful. But it's got a few problems. It's not beautifully anti-aliased, it's a bit stodgy at the edges. It's also got some polygon artifacts you can see from the bake, which the high poly wasn't terribly high poly. So I like to do some blurring on it. Obviously, something I like to do is two-stage blurring. Just do a very small blur and then a very big blur, and blend the best results from both of them. So I thought I'd put that functionality in a layer effect, and this is AFF subfx two-stage blur. So it's very simple. It's two blurs with a blend between them, and I'm going to set the first blur. This is no blur whatsoever. I'm going to set the first blur to, let's make that a bit bigger, something very small, but we do want to get rid of the artifacts, so that looks about right. There's still a little bit of dappling there, but it's much better than it was. And over on the other side, I'm going to set the large blur, although they're completely independent. You can set the other one to the small blur, it doesn't really matter. To as large as it can get without fading out entirely, and you see this does get very subtle. The blur tends to wash it out, so I'm going to add some levels, and we have this fabulous new widget for levels, so you can get really crazy effect. So that's blur 2. I'm going to go back and blend between those and bring in just a little touch of the sharp stuff whilst retaining the larger blur. So that's quite a cool effect to have all in one layer effect. Saves a bit of time, and you can use the blend modes to, where are we, linear light, to really get a cranky old effect, a patina and wear effect. I'll bring that down a bit. That's pretty awesome. And I like to keep the AO in the diff as well, so I'll put that there. I've also overcranked that with some levels, and we'll make this guy a little more shiny too. Everybody likes reflection. Oh, that's going into roughness too. It shouldn't. So there's two-stage blur, and that's a cool way of getting things immediately looking presentable. And also another great set of presets in Designer are the noise presets, and there's a lot of procedural noise stuff already for you to play around with in Designer, but there's almost nothing in Painter. Very few presets. You've got some materials, but we don't have any raw noises for basic stuff. So I made some, and this is in a fill layer. The noise is a material. Here's the interface down here. Turn it on. This is a combination of 10 different noises. There are more, but the Switch input won't support more than 10 things. So down here we got some crazy different noises. And these are all quite low frequency, so you'll probably want to tile these up a bit. Or you can use the sub-effects, make it tile layer effect. So you've got 10 different types of basic noise, all in the one material plugin. And the colors are selectable, although they've both got alpha output, so you can just have it affect what's underneath as well. Guys, you've really got to fix this color thing. So That's pretty neat. And you do get a little bit of bleed through even when you turn the alpha down in the colour, but I find this nice for edging. If you set the first colour to dark and the second colour to light, you can get a kind of shadow around the edges of these, which I quite enjoy. So, going down the menu, that was the input switch and the colours. The controls of all the noises have been passed through. So you got the balance, which just sways the bias of the noise to either side. You got contrast, which does exactly what you think it does. Cracks is something that doesn't work on all noises. Does it work on this one? Yeah, it does. It does seem to be inverted though. We've also got an invert button for the noise node. You can see the cracks working better there. It is taking a little while to compute. I've got a few layers running. And of course I'm broadcasting. Let's try a different noise. Well, that spotty one could be quite interesting when it's inverted. Let's take the tiles up. So the range of effects with this node is quite astonishing. It pretty much does the job. I'll carry on down. We've got the brush pattern facility here, which I think I'll need to set this back down to like 1 and have a look at just the diff on the texture. Brush pattern just closes the pattern down until it's centralized in a gradient. And this was originally for use with painter brushes, I guess. I guess I'll try and make some presets to use those as brushes at some point. But it's essentially useless for this. I just passed it through for completeness. The next one is an innovation which didn't go quite right, but I'll attempt to demonstrate it anyway, which is a bias mask. And I wanted to be able to input a bias mask. Well, that was a good one. What was that? Okay. Now the bias mask would do the same thing as the balance, but per pixel. So I thought, okay, if we input the Simrise AO map and turn up the bias blend. Now see here, it does rely on it not being tiled, so you'd have to use some internal method of tiling that stuff before it would work. Set this to 1, set this to 1, try again. Okay, well the idea was that you could bias the noise into the cracks by using the AO map. I'm pretty sure I can get that working. It's not having much effect right now though, so ignore that. Down here you got a bunch of useful stuff. This node doesn't just do color or alpha; it does all the channels, including you can put it in the specular as well. It's got blends for each of height, roughness, and metallic, so you can blend the noises effect on each of those channels. It's also got a flip for each thing. Wasn't using material. So you can flip the height independently of the noise. Bit hard to see on that noise. Where's a more contrasty noise? There we go. Then you can flip the height, blend the height. Although of course height is best kept subtle. And that's about it. And that was the AFF subfx. Shared in the link below. Have fun.